Back on November 2nd, when the four of you, the four professors, debated this issue, Hanlon made a couple statements such as Lincoln was a racist, and Professor Loudon raised the idea that changing Lincoln Hall to Jones Hall would be a good idea. What effect do you think a change such as this one would have made on the Eastern community in regards to understanding the significance of both Lincoln and Douglas?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yep, so in other words, I'm just kind of saying how would the changes of Douglas, obviously with one S to two S's, and then Lincoln to Jones, would it lose significance in both those people's names and Charleston history?
Well, the real question is, would anyone notice? And from what I've gathered from talking to students, is not that many people noticed. And I don't. Probably people would notice if Lincoln Hall was renamed Jones Hall, but I'm not sure how much of an effect it would have on the student body. It might have an effect on some of the people living in the Charleston community and other people who were other off-campus people who were interested in the history. But one of the things obviously such changes would do is that they would help erase the Lincoln-Douglas debate and its connection to Charleston.
Alrighty. I know that one of Hanlon's main arguments was that if we keep the building named after Stephen Douglas, then Douglas's beliefs are also part of Eastern's beliefs. What would you say to that?
I'd say he was right, but Douglas's beliefs were the beliefs of the nation, of the United States in the 1850s and 60s and perhaps beyond. Douglas was a believer in white supremacy. Douglas also believed that the United States should expand to the Pacific, and he was all in favor of purchasing Cuba from Spain. All of those beliefs are still part of our past and part of our national DNA. To recognize that the majority of white Americans were at one point in time and space open racists is just to acknowledge a fact, to be aware of a fact. It doesn't mean that because they were, we have to be, but it is one of the things that explains their actions and why we are where we are now.
Alrighty, and coming to the final decision, obviously, as you know, the final decision came down to President Perry. What do you think really was the significant factor in him deciding to leave the name of Douglas the same?
Well, I have great respect for Dr. Perry. He, after all, was a historian himself, or at least was a history student at one point. I think he recognizes that we have to be aware of our past. We have to confront it in our present and our future. I also think that obviously the debate stirred up questions among Eastern's Board of Trustees and among those who contribute, particularly contribute money to the university. I think it was a judicious decision, and one that a number of factors influenced President Perry in making.